Hey, my name's Ed, welcome to my channel. I make, modify and mend things, and in this video I'm going to be fitting a Chinese diesel heater into my 43-foot narrowboat Joshua. Let's go. So I had all of the decking out of the engine room because I actually removed the engine from the boat for reasons that are too long and boring to go into here. Anyway, I thought while I had all this space in the engine room I would take the opportunity to fit the diesel heater, and the first job is to drill a hole in the side of the boat, which I've actually been putting off for months. I've had the diesel heater for ages, but I've been putting off fitting it for the reason that I've got to drill a hole, which I really don't want to do. But yeah, I thought I'd take the opportunity to do that now while I've got all the space and it's relatively easy. So let's do the job I've been dreading and drill a hole, and then I've got to finish the job. So it's also going to force me to do it, which is good. So I've marked my hole. The exhaust is going to go out here. Let's make it permanent. Oh my God. That's interesting. The locating bit is just broken. That's odd. Well, I'll just have to put another drill bit in. Right, now I'm beyond the point of no return. I am a little bit worried about how close it is to the water line, but I mean, I've got the exhaust for the engine is about this level as well. That's just there. So I don't think it's any closer to the water than the engine exhaust. So I think it's going to be fine. And realistically, the water never ever comes near there. If you're tipped over that far, you're in trouble anyway. So I think it's going to be okay. Right, let's get back inside and test fit it. So here's my nice fancy exhaust outlet. Actually, I need to fit this from the outside, but I do need to drill 3 other holes. I hate drilling holes in this boat. This steel is so tough, and I mean, it could be my drill bits are a bit blunt as well, but I think it's 6 mil thick, this steel, and it takes forever to drill through it. But yeah, I need to drill 3 more to get these studs through. I'm not sure how I'm going to mark that. Yes, I do. I'm going to put grease on the studs, poke us through the hole, and then it will give me 3 points. So I've got a dab of grease on the end of each of these studs. Now I'm going to put this through here. Now I want that facing upwards once it's finally fitted, so I'm going to put that through, and carefully I'm going to centralise that and then just touch the studs on the side, and then when I take this off there should be a dab of grease where each hole needs to be drilled. Perfect. Happy with that. That's the 3 little mounting holes drilled. Now the moment of truth. I haven't actually tested this, so I hope I've drilled these in the right place. Oh, that is perfect. I could not ask for a better fit, and there's no movement in that either. Oh, amazing. So the grease trick worked. So obviously I need to fit this from the other way. Oh, how am I going to hold it on the outside? I'll think of that later. For now, I'm going to clean this up a bit and I'm going to do a proper job. So I'm going to paint this bare metal before I put this all together. I've just looked and I actually don't have any paint at home. So what I'm going to do is roughly fit this, and then next time I go to the workshop, get some paint and finish it off. Really happy with that. Incidentally, this was the cheap exhaust outlet for diesel heaters on eBay, I think. And I think it came from Czechia. And I was expecting it to be really rubbish quality, but to be honest, it's actually really nice. The welding's great. It's stainless, so it ain't gonna rust. And yeah, those studs seem to be welded on fairly at right angles to the plate. I was worried that they were going to be like just all bent and not facing 90 degrees to the plate that they're welded to, but they're fine. So yeah, I'll link this in the description, because you need to fit all this stuff to make these diesel heaters pass a BSS, which is the Boat Safety Scheme certificate. And the stuff that comes as standard with these the cheap Chinese diesel heaters is not good enough to pass the BSS examination. So yeah, if you want to fit one of these to a boat, you need to do all this stuff. So I'll link this in the description. I'm really impressed with it. It was far cheaper than the other ones, and it's really good quality. And like I said, I think it came from Czechia. It didn't even take very long to arrive either, so really happy with that. And this is the outside bit. I was a bit concerned that I was going to hit my rubbing strake, but there's loads of space there. I could have gone closer, to be honest, but I was a bit scared. I could have gone higher up, but it's a bit late now. If I have to change it, I could always weld that hole back up. It's not a complete disaster. I'll keep the slug that came out of it. But yeah, looks nice. Pretty happy with that. The engine room's back together. I've finished the engine work and I've put all this decking back in. The exhaust outlet that I drilled a hole for and fitted yesterday is just the other side of this piece of timber here. And that's because I'm going to mount the diesel heater inside this compartment under this piece of decking. This is the diesel heater itself. Now these are designed, I think, to be fitted into cars and vans and trucks. And because they're designed to be bolted to the floor of a vehicle, the inlet and the exhaust for the diesel combustion are on the bottom, and I think these are designed to be bolted to the floor so that these are on the outside of the vehicle, so you don't get diesel exhaust inside, and that you're not sucking air from the interior of the vehicle in to be burnt and used for the combustion of the diesel. Obviously in a boat I can't mount this to the very bottom, so what I've done is I've made up this bracket that has the mounting plate for the diesel heater here, and then it's got these legs and these feet which I'm going to screw down to the piece of timber that I'm going to fix this diesel heater to, so that it holds the diesel heater up away from the floor, and it gives me space to route the exhaust and the air inlet away to where I need them. So yeah, so like I said, it's going to be below this piece of decking, so let's take a look at my plan. This is the compartment where I'm planning on fitting the heater. I've chosen this location because it's one of the only places I have space left in the engine compartment, but also the diesel tank is here, so I have a ready supply of diesel, and you probably can't see on camera, but actually if I take this out, there is a diesel tap here. That's my fuel cut-off for the engine, so I'm going to tap into here and tee off for the diesel heater so that I don't have to have a separate diesel tank, so that'll be really nice. This arrangement isn't great with a couple of pieces of timber. I am thinking of cutting a nicer shaped piece of ply, because this is only 12mm. I've got some 18 at the workshop, and I'm a little bit concerned about the noise and the vibrations that the heater's going to make when it's running. I don't want it to be noisy because my bedroom is right next door. So, and it'll be neater with just a single piece of ply rather than these kind of like 2 or 3 pieces that are got joins in. So I'm thinking of doing that, but I want to rough out where all of this stuff is going to go. The exhaust outlet is up here. Again, it's probably just out of shot. And my plan is to have the heater sort of like that. I'm not sure if it's going to be diagonal yet. In fact, there's no harm in it being like this, because the hot air outlet to the cabin needs to go out this side. It's probably going to go through the floor here, and I'll route that into the cabin that way. I have the fuel pump, which I had made a neat little stud on the feet of this bracket to go on there. However, I've since discovered this needs to be mounted at 45 degrees to avoid getting air trapped in the pump, I think. So I've drilled a hole in the side of this leg and it's going to get mounted there. I need an exhaust pipe from the heater to the outlet that I've fitted. So that'll have to be routed, and I have a silencer as well to be fitted in line between the heater and the outlet. And then I need to just run the fuel line, put a filter in there, fuel filter, and then run the wiring. I probably need to extend the cable loom because the loom it came with isn't very long, so I probably am going to have to extend that to get the controller somewhere useful. So that's the idea. So yeah, I'm going to just start putting it together. So after reading the manual cover to cover to try and work out the direction of flow of fuel through this pump, I realised it's written on the pump body underneath this piece of rubber that I just fitted. So the fuel flows this way, I think. So I'm going to bolt it there to that leg, like that, so that it doesn't get air trapped in it. I'm going to connect the fuel hose from the pump to the unit. Now, the diesel heaters come with this crappy fuel hose. It's plastic, which is not allowed in boats for the BSS. Again, with the fuel filter as well, plastic little crappy fuel filter. And it also comes with these rubbish Jubilee clips, the type with holes in. Again, I mean, you'd probably be okay on the BSS with those, but I don't like them. They're not proper, and they're certainly not good enough for fuel hose. So yeah, that's the little bag of rubbish stuff it comes with. I have gone ahead and bought a glass and metal fuel filter. I've got these proper fuel hose clips. These aren't Jubilee clips, these are actually fuel hose clips. And I've got some proper fuel hose, which is rubber, the correct inner diameter, and it's much better than the rubbish plastic stuff that comes with the diesel heater. So I've cut a short piece, and I'm going to connect it from here. Let's put a hose clip on that end and one on that end. And I'm just going to push it on the fuel pump that end. I should put those on afterwards. Oh, that's tight. That's good though. And then let's just turn that around. And then that goes to the fuel inlet here. Now that, I don't know if that's going to be okay. I might have to cable tie that up somewhere, but we'll figure that out a bit later. Let's do these fuel hose clips up. Good, it's nice and tight. Like I say, I might need to cable tie this up to here or something, just so that it's not got that loop that goes down, because anywhere where you have a loop that's higher, you could get air trapped here and it will stop the movement of fuel. So ideally it wants to be kind of continuously going up from the pump into the unit, I think. Right, onto the exhaust. So the diesel heater comes with this really bad unsealed exhaust. Apparently not allowed those for the BSS either. So I have this exhaust elbow with a condensation loop on it. Now I actually bought this after I'd made these brackets and it's a bit too tall. However, I can cut this down a little bit. I have a brake line tool, so I can cut this down, reflare it a bit further down. I only need about 10 mil, so I can easily do that. But that will eventually go on the outlet, the exhaust, which is that one, and then comes out here, and I have a back box. So this is the exhaust silencer for the diesel heater. Again, This is a replacement for this rubbish one that comes with it. It's sealed, unlike the other one, which is unsealed. There are expensive versions of this that you can buy. This was a cheaper one, and again, I'm really impressed with it. Similar to the exhaust outlet, the welding's really nice. Let's see if we can see that. The welding is actually really good. I was expecting it to be rubbish, but it's stainless. Welding's pretty neat. I mean, it's not the best welding you've ever seen in your life, but for the price, for the money, it's pretty damn good. So this needs to go between the heater and the exhaust outlet that I drilled a hole through the hole for. I've shortened the condenser on the exhaust manifold. I actually realised I don't need to cut this. I was just being really dumb. And I've just sort of made the loop a bit tighter here to bring it off of the floor. So now I've got clearance on that. So that's done. I've also flipped the whole diesel heater around on the legs to get the fuel pump on the other side, because the exhaust is going to come out this side and I want to keep fuel and exhaust away from each other. I've made a panel that fits in there, and I've drilled and tapped the angle iron of the structure of the room and fixed that down, and it's really nice and solid. You can pull it and it doesn't move anywhere. So that's a much better base to fix this whole assembly onto. You can see I've got the fuel filter down there. That's kind of roughly where I want it, because I am going to have it diagonal like this to give me a straight shot with the heater pipe that's with the hot air outlet to go down there and straight into the cabin, which is behind me. It might actually be slightly further forwards than that. And so you can see where I'm going with this. Fuel line is going to come around the back where there's going to be no hot components, into the fuel filter, out, and then loop into the fuel pump to keep all that fuel line away from the exhaust, which is going to be out of this side going up here. And I've actually decided I'm not going to clamp this down. I'm just going to have this suspended in the air. The exhaust pipe that I've bought is so stiff, I think it will support the weight of that back box. So I'm just going to put it in line and I'll see what happens. So now I've got my position, I just need to fix it down, make it permanent, and then build everything around it, I think. Oh my God, that's the case. All the bolts are tight. It's just the case is that sloppy. Now I'm going to start connecting up the exhaust. So I've cut these bits of exhaust to length, and now I'm just going to kind of dry fit it all together. It feels quite loose on that outlet, but I've got clamps to go on this. So I've got this piece which is for the outlet on the hull. It goes there, and then that's going to go there. And this bend is fairly tight, but I think it's going to be fine. And that, I mean, there's no clamps on this, and that's already just holding it. So I'm fairly confident I don't need to strap this in. Once all the clamps are on, I think that's going to be really rigid. So I'm just going to clamp that up now. Right, so I've got the hose clips on, and again, these aren't Jubilee clips. These are proper hose clips. They apply a much more even clamping force than Jubilee clips, and they're way better. The quality is way better. They're a bit more expensive, but it's really worth it, I think, especially on an exhaust where you really don't want it leaking into somewhere where you're living. Right. And yeah, that is so solid. I mean, I do actually need to rotate that because that's touching the metalwork, but... And I've got some exhaust wrap for this. So, and I've got it on my engine exhaust and it works really well. You can touch it when the engine's running, so I'm going to wrap this eventually, and this silencer. So now we've got the exhaust out. I think I'm going to route the hot air out into the cabin, and then finally I'll get the fuel in, because this is all just sort of dry fitted and I need to pull all this out to connect the fuel up anyway, so I'll do the fuel last. I do need to drill a hole in here for the ducting into the cabin, so I'm going to eye that up and mark it out and cut that, because I'll need to take everything out to cut that anyway. So
it's not like I'm struggling with this class. This class is easy. I've got it nailed. I'm like 3 weeks ahead of every other student in the class, and he said, I don't care. You can't come to school on time, so therefore you're fail. And so they wanted to hold me back a whole year of high school and not let me graduate.
No, you're only missing a half a credit at that point.
Third session on this, and hopefully the final day. The part I've been waiting for has arrived. It's that tiny little barb fitting. So yeah, hopefully I can get this finished today and running. So as you can see, I've taken out the new floor that I've put in, because I need to get to the diesel tank, which is this tap here in the darkness. So I'm going to tap into that. I'm going to tee in using this T-piece. It's going to go that way up, and then that new barb fitting is going to go there, and my existing diesel line to the engine is going to go on the bottom bit. So I'm going to turn the tap off and undo the fitting and fit this one. So this is my diesel cut off, so I'm going to turn that, which should stop the flow of diesel down to this fitting, and then I'm going to undo that. Now that's disconnected, I'm going to put the T-piece in, and then I can put the main engine diesel line back and put in my barb fitting for the diesel heater. Oh, obviously that faces backwards. Great. That's just tightened up. I'm going to give it a little nip with a spanner. Actually, maybe I can get it so it's in a little bit more of a sensible place. I don't want to go too far and strip the threads, but that's better than facing completely the wrong way. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh yeah. Now I'm going to put the original diesel line back. Okay, and nip that up. Doesn't need to be really tight because this has got a copper olive. There we are. Right, now I can put my new barb fitting there. And that's the takeoff. Bit weird, there's no real seal on that. So I am going to be fairly cautious when I turn on the diesel tap. What I'm going to do, before I put anything back, I'm going to put a diesel line on here, and then turn the cutoff on to see if that's sealed. And I'm going to tighten it as much as I dare. Like I say, it's all brass, so it's fairly soft. Right, I'm going to put a diesel line on and then open the cutoff and see if I've got any leakage. Okay, so here's a bit of a better view. So you can see this lower takeoff goes to the engine. That's the original diesel line to the engine. This is the cut-off tap from the diesel tank, which is above the shot. And then that's the new T off to the diesel heater. So I'm going to turn the shut-off back on, and we can see if there's any leaks. Let me know if you see any. I'm hoping there isn't. And I've got this diesel line going really high up because I haven't got loads of diesel, so there's not too much pressure in the tank. well, there's not too much weight of diesel. There's no pressure in the tank. Is that a drip? That looks like a drip to me. That's annoying. I don't know what I can use to seal diesel lines. That's definitely wet. Okay, I need to find out how to seal these threads. After a quick trip to Toolstation, I've got this. I've never heard of it before. True Blue pipe sealant. It's vibration resistant and suitable for heating oil, which is basically diesel. So this should do it. I think the problem is that this isn't a tapered thread. Really, it should be a tapered thread, but you don't have much choice when you come down to tiny little fittings like this. And finding a supplier is a nightmare. So this pipe thread sealant should do it. I just googled it, and on Canal World forums there's lots of people saying about it. So I'm going to apply it to the male threads and then refit that little T-piece and this little barb as well. Don't know how much to put on. I guess too much is better than not enough. And it says to wipe the excess off, so that might be a bit too much though. Oops. Right, so that's all back together. It says if I'm using water fittings, then you can use it immediately, and for other applications to let it dry. So it doesn't actually say how long to let it dry for, so I'm going to go and make a cup of tea and come back and then test it, I think. While drinking my tea and having a chocolate biscuit or three, I read the data sheet for this stuff, and annoyingly, for anything that isn't water, air or gas, the cure time is 24 hours. So I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow before I can test that this has got any leaks. But in the meantime, I'm just going to put it all back together and continue. The next job is to put it all back in here, put the floor back in, and route all the warm air ducting and connect up the diesel line and do the wiring. So let's get on with that. So it's all back together. I am going to route the fuel hose around here, and I've got where I welded a stud to the bracket. I think I'm going to fix it to here somehow with some kind of cable fixing. And then it's going to come around the back and it's going to connect to this filter, and it's just occurred to me I probably need to put some of that sealant on these threads as well, which I'll do. And then I'll put a little loop from there into the pump. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to fix this down using this bracket and a piece of rubber to kind of pinch that up probably. I think that's the best way anyway. I had to go out yesterday, so I didn't get anything more done. So this is session 4. So this morning before I turned the camera on, I went ahead and connected up the fuel, which is looking okay. I threw out all my old inner tubes, so annoyingly I don't have a piece of old inner tube I can use as a clamp for that. So for the moment it's just the metal on the glass, but I am going to put a bit of old inner tube around the filter so that it's just got a little bit of shock absorption around that glass. I've connected the duct, the heater duct out, and that goes down through my floor, and again off camera I've drilled a hole in the step and I fitted this outlet, and you can turn that. It's currently directs the air sort of downwards. Oh no, it's going up at the moment, but you can turn this and direct the air, and eventually I'm going to have to put a hole in this door because normally this engine room door is closed, so clearly that's not going to work like that. So I've got a vent put in this door so that the air will come through to the bedroom with the door closed. So that's everything done, fuel and vent duct wise, and now I just need to do the wiring loom. Now originally I wanted to put this controller in the bedroom so that I didn't have to go into the engine room, which is cold and smelly and dark and damp, to adjust any of the settings. Now I was going to kind of put it here with my charge controller, but I mean it looks rubbish. It looks so cheap, and the wire comes out from the bottom. It doesn't come out from the back, which is what I thought it did. So I'm going to have an exposed wire in here, which is going to look rubbish. So I think I'm actually going to put it down here, so you can still see it from without having to take the false floor up. And I don't really care about it looking pants in the engine room. Also, as you can see, there's a Bluetooth logo here, which means there's an app and you can control it with Bluetooth, which means I can still control this from the bedroom via my phone, which is fine. So I'll do that instead, and I'll mount this here somewhere. And it also means I don't have to extend the wiring loom, because this socket, which plugs into that controller, it's not very long. So I would have had to extend that to get it into the bedroom. The cabling I will have to extend though is the power, because my heater is there and my fuse board is here. So I am going to have to extend that power. I can chop that fuse off because it's going to be fused at the fuse board anyway, which is better because it protects more of this power cable. It's really close to the heater and not the battery, which is odd. So yeah, I'm going to chop that off and extend that power and the negative as well. I've got a reel of black cable for the negative. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll bring you back when it's all ready to plug in. So I've connected up all the wiring. I've put this little screen here on this front step, and I've plugged in the main unit. I've routed the power cables all along my conduit and under the fuse box, under this board to the fuse box, which was a bit of a nightmare, but it's done now. I didn't think of that when I designed that fuse board. The fuel pump is connected, and yeah, I've plugged in this little screen as well. Rather optimistically, I've cleared away all my tools. If it doesn't work, then I'm going away for the weekend. I'll just come back Monday and sort it out. But I wanted to get it all plugged in and kind of working before I went. I just need to turn on the fuel and then put the fuse in to turn it on. So let's do that. It is a bit awkward to get to the fuel cut-off now. Don't know if that's going to be okay for BSS. Quite a nice symptom of going out yesterday and having to wait to today to do this is all that sealant I used has had time to go off, so that should be okay. And obviously I can't go down there to see if it's leaking, but I trust the sealant that it's not. I might have a look quickly before I turn this on, but the fuel now is on. Right, so I've just read the instruction book to see if there's anything I need to do for the first time to like prime the fuel pump or anything. It's kind of funny, it actually says, after the installation, the heater shall be turned on repeatedly for a few times to make the fuel tube full filled, so as to avoid staring failure due to lacking fuel. Bloody hell, that's hard to read. The spelling's correct, but some words are wrong, and oh gosh, that is difficult. Anyway, just seems like I might need to turn it on and off a few times to get that fuel filter and the tube to prime and fill up properly. It doesn't actually have any instructions on how to turn it on. I'm guessing you just press the on button on here. So let's put the fuse in and do that. This is the 20 amp fuse that came with it, so may as well put that in here and not in that ridiculously short cable that came with it. Right, so power. That screen is now reading something. It's a bit awkward to see. I might have to move this eventually, but yeah, like I say, I want to operate it with my phone mostly anyway. I don't know if that's on. What happens if I press on? Oh, a noise. Some fan noise. I expect to hear some clicking, which will be that fuel pump. I've watched so many videos on these now. Oh, it actually says there's a little fan icon on there. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to wait. Can I feel air coming out of here? Oh yeah, there's a very, very slight draft of air coming out of there. So my ducting works. It's cold at the moment, obviously. So the fuel pump has just started clicking and the fan has sped up. Good thing about having a glass filter is we can see if there's fuel coming through. So let's keep an eye on that. I'm guessing it's going to take a while to pump fuel through because it's a fair way from the diesel tank. It sounds like it's going to take off now. Still no diesel through in the filter. I'm guessing this is what it meant about turning it on and off a few times. So, oh, it's slowing down again. I'm guessing I'm going to get an error on here now. Or something. What happens if I oh, another little burst from the fan. I'm going to turn it off. Do I hold it to turn it off? Yeah. And now I'm going to turn it on again. And yeah, I'm guessing I might need to prime that pump a few times to get the diesel up through. Right, this is the 4th time I've turned it on and I just saw a tiny trickle of diesel go into the fuel pump. Yeah, I can see it filling up now. Cool, I'm a bit excited now. I was starting to think that this wasn't gonna work and I was gonna have to come back Monday and sort it, but the fuel filter's filling up, so let's just see what happens. This is the 5th time I've turned it on and it sounds different. That sounds to me like it's burning fuel because I can smell a bit of a diesely smell as well. I didn't use, I didn't know whether to use the exhaust paste on these. Maybe I should have. I'll see if it's, oh well, I'll see if it leaks. I did the clamps up bloody tight. That definitely sounds different this time. And the air coming out is vaguely warmer. In fact, that's actually warm. The air coming out is warm. Oh, excellent. Exciting. Yeah, I can smell hot now. Good. So this was the 5th time, 6th time, I can't remember. But it took a long time to prime that, the filter and the pump. Excellent. Lovely. Oh, that's working a treat. I mean, it's 22 degrees today. I don't really need a heater, but lovely. I think I might need to change this because this is one that's angled and at the moment it's blowing down, and when I close the door I'm going to need to put a vent here. It's not exactly, unless I offset the vent, obviously that's not going to work if I point it in a different direction. So maybe I need to find a straight duct for this step. I'm guessing because it's new it sort of smells warm, everything smells a bit hot. Silence doesn't feel hot yet. Oh, that is very hot. That was really dumb of me. I can't see exhaust coming out, but I can feel it and it's hot, so that's good. Brilliant. It's not very loud out here either, that's nice. Let's have a little play with the controls. I think program 9, I don't know what that means. Program 10. 5. Let's see what that does. I thought you just alter the temperature by pressing the up and down buttons, but maybe you don't. I probably should read the instructions more. Alright, so it's off, I think. Actually, it's going to take me a while to work out how this works. Well, some of them do. The buttons correspond to what it says in the manual, but none of the symbols on here correspond to what it talks about in the manual, and those P modes doesn't mention those at all. So I might have to do a bit more research to find out what it all means. And obviously this vent, I might need to do some work with this. Annoyingly, I think I paid extra for this. And yeah, it blows down. So I'm going to need to get one that blows straight through so that it can come through a vent in this door and blow straight into the bedroom. So I need to do some work on that, but yeah, it's in and it's working, so that's great. Okay, this is definitely the last day on this project. I keep thinking that, and it's not. I spend more time on it, but anyway, I've discovered that you can actually pull this out. So rather than buying a new one, a straight one, because these vents are angled, I don't know if you can see those blades, but they're angled. I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't know if it will blow out. I'm guessing it will blow out straighter than if it's going through this. But you might actually need straight fins. I don't know. But I'm going to try it like this. So I'm going to next mark up the door for the right place to cut hole to put this grill over. I'm using this nice mushroom grill cover, mushroom vent cover, sorry, because anything I found in Wickes or B&Q was just rubbish and plastic, and this is more decorative. It's actually from a Chandler's, so yep, I'm going to mark that up and cut that out now. So I've drilled the hole. I didn't film that because I've got neighbours, and even though I've been filming for quite a while, I'm still really self-conscious about filming in public, so no footage of that, unfortunately. Now I was just about to hang the door, and I realised it's going to be easier to put the grill on with the door off and then put the door on afterwards. So I'm going to quickly do that. And so I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going to pre-drill these holes. And I am going to do this with a manual screwdriver, only because this wood is 12mm and my screws are 20mm, I think. And yeah, so I think if I just whack them in with the impact driver, there's a danger they're just going to go right through and poke out the other side. So I'm going to just be very careful. And this is MDF as well, so it'll also, any holes will strip really easily. So I'm literally just going to nip these up, and then as soon as they're holding the grill so it's not loose, I'm going to stop. And the impact gun will just whack them up, strip the threads and poke through the other side. So I've got one. Oh, that's my fault. The pilot hole has gone right through. But this is the back side of the door, so you're never really going to see it. It's not that bad. Okay, good. Let's hang it and finish the job. Okay, now for the moment of truth. If my calculations are correct, that's pretty good. Is it central? I think it is. It's pretty central. The two holes line up anyway, so that's good. Right, let's turn it on and see what happens. So let's do a final test on this. So the eagle-eyed among you might notice that this has got a Bluetooth logo on it. The listing that I bought this from also said it was Bluetooth. When I had it running the other day, I was searching for Bluetooth devices using my phone. I downloaded an app for diesel heaters, couldn't find any, and it couldn't find any devices. So I was starting to think maybe this just is printed on here and I've been had, basically. So I went on a diesel heater group on Facebook, and someone said you just have to download loads of different apps and try each one until you find one that works. So I did that, and I found this one called Heat Genie, and it says scan QR code or automatically link. Tried automatically link, didn't do anything. So I tried scan QR code, and I thought, well, I don't have a QR code, but I took my controller off, oops, and there's a QR code on the back, a little sticker. So I scanned that and it instantly connected. So now I've got Bluetooth control, which is really handy because I was hoping this would be the case. And I'm sorry if this is flashing. The refresh rate is really interfering with my camera shutter speed. No, that's not much better, is it? So yeah, so now I have control via Bluetooth, which is so good. So let's turn it on. And the most exciting thing for me about this is the timing settings. So you can set timers for this to come on and off on all days of the week, which is really what I wanted, because to be honest, I only need this diesel heater like first thing in the morning to get me out of bed, because in the winter it's so cold before you've got the fire lit. So that's really all I'm going to be using the heater for. So yeah, that's on. Let's just let that do its thing, and then I'll bring you back once it's blowing warm air. Right, it's running, and it's quite noisy on startup, which is a little bit concerning, because if I'm asleep, I want this to come on sort of like half an hour before I wake up. If I'm asleep, I'm probably going to hear it. I'm quite a heavy sleeper, but it is fairly loud. It's like the whooshing of the air coming through the duct. It's quietened down a lot now. I'll go nearer so you can hear it. It's kind of just like an air going through a duct noise. I can't replicate that, no matter how hard I tried. But the warm air is coming through and it feels lovely. This is on setting 1. I'm slightly concerned that this is going to get really hot and it's going to scorch the wood that it's attached to, because obviously this is steel. But I'll see. This is on setting 1. It's easily touchable. It's not even really, it's not uncomfortable in any way to touch that. Yeah, I was slightly concerned that air is going to get trapped down in here, hot air, and it's just going to heat up the gap between the step and the door. But I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. I think I've cut that hole in pretty much the perfect place, so it's blowing right through the middle of this vent, so that's good. Brilliant. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I'm slightly concerned about the noise, but there's not a lot I can do about that. They make noise when they work, so yeah, it's going to be fine, I think. But that's really good. I'm so happy about that it's finally fitted. I've had this for a long time, and it's good I've got it in before winter starts as well. So there we go, I'm ready for winter. I honestly thought I'd be crawling around in that engine bay in 5-degree weather, fitting this diesel heater out of necessity. Not in mid-September when the temperatures are still in the low 20s. I guess I'm just lucky with the weather, but also, yeah, it feels good to be ready for winter. If you're interested in any of the extra parts I bought to make it compliant on a boat, then I've put links in the description for the exhaust and that exhaust elbow and all those bits. There's links in the description, so if anyone's watching this in interest to make it compliant with the BSS, then all that stuff's down below. Thanks for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this, then there's loads more boat project videos up here, and there's my other various project videos up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.